Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss. Now you counting stars, should've practiced more. Should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
What's good, everyone? WCS back on the boulevard again. You already know the first in the building is Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz and more, the one and only. The OG is on deck. Salute to you, Bruce. Big shout out. We getting into some boxing. We're gonna dabble in some multiple divisions, the 140-pound division, the 154-pound division, and of course, one of the biggest fights, 135-pound division. But first, I just want to touch bases. Jahad Tuck is back on deck July 1st. Very talented, highly talented, up-and-coming fighter who's out there to test himself. He's pretty much made it known that he is calling out all the challengers. If you didn't hear, during his last fight with Sexnashvili, he told current 154-pound colleague of his, who he fought his sparring partner, who's currently 15 wins in, he told him, Xander, come pick your mans up. He kind of used another word in there, but you know, I'm just going to give you an impression to figure it out for yourself. But it was a classic, you know, to say, you know, for him to come up there and say, pick your mans up. You know what I'm saying? So the dude is talented, real talk. He works hard. His team works hard. He has some talents that, you know, he's going to benefit one for himself. He showed he has heart, but also he has a vicious side to him. He knows how to go in there and box. I had a conversation with a couple of people who said that he was hit too much. Well, if you look at his other fights, that was quite the opposite, right? I mean, you're always saying that he doesn't stand in bang. You know, from my understanding, his opposition pretty much said he was going to run around the ring that night. I guess that was just his dance hall moment when he chose to move and groove, slip, set, punch, you know what I'm saying? Move, shift stances. That was just his way of saying, you know, I have certain levels to my game, and I'm just going to show him every time I go in here and fight. So don't look too much into it, man. It was a tough fight. You need fights like that to break out any type of bubble that the boxing fans are putting you in. I think he did it. He did for a fact. You know what I'm saying? The Tulsa boxing crowd loved it. They was insane that night. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you, Jahai. Keep on doing what you're doing, big dog. Keep on doing what you're doing, man. So we're going to get down to the nitty gritty, man. We got some stuff to talk about. You know, I found out this fight may be happening, and I was saying to myself, okay, first and foremost, Matchroom has signed Regis Prograis and Super Matias. You can't tell me you ain't looking forward to that. Even though Regis have a fight coming up, you cannot tell me who we talking about a unification already. If it goes down like that, Regis Prograis, 28 victories, one defeat, 24 by way of knockout. He's 34 years of age right now. He is looking for all the big fights, y'all. No doubt about it. Regis is looking for all the big fights. Rugaru, that's what they call him. Put some respect on that man's name because he's earned it. He'll be fighting Liam Paro. Paro. And he's 23-0, man. He's an undefeated fighter. You know what I'm saying? And this is gonna be interesting, of course, because 23-0 looks good. You know what I'm saying? He's been in there with the likes of Brock Jarvis, Yomar Alamo, Steve Geigo, Terry Zuramanis, James Cherie. You know, I mean, not some big names that you know, but a lot of these fights has been in the UK and a couple over here in the US. But most of them been in the UK. Okay. So to Regis is Liam Parole, who is 27 years old, Southpaw, and he's 23 victories, 0, 14 knockouts. 14 knockouts. Yes, sir, indeed. He's younger than Regis, and he's undefeated. So let's see, can we get another William Cepeda type performance? I like Regis, man. No nonsense. It's not too many people that say his name that don't put respect and give him his props for being consistent as a fighter. Regis, man. He's the current reigning defending WBC super lightweight world champion. And rumor has it, you know, being that he and Matias is just signed with Matchroom, more than he get through Liam, we may potentially see Super Matias and Regis Prograis inside that square to unify the titles. That would be awesome. You know what? That would be super awesome. That would be super awesome. I'm not going to lie to you. That right there would be awesome to see. Matias and Prograis, I will pay to see that fight any day, any hour of the time, man. I think that's going to be a very, very entertaining fight. And 140 pounds, hey, give it up to you. If they can make these fights happen in unification, and somehow by first semester of 2024, we might be seeing another fight for 140-pound undisputed. I'm not sure. It's just something I'm throwing out there. I'm just putting it up on the hanger. I'm saying I'm letting it dry out a little bit to see if this fight happened. But I definitely will love it. I'm not gonna lie, I will love this fight. Shout out to Golden on deck. What's good there, Mr. Golden? Salute to you. Appreciate you pulling up. Next, let's talk about Tszyu and the situation that he's in. Tszyu coming off a situation. I says it's a situation, right? Because he got the win over Terrell Goucher, and then he came in here with Tony Harrison, which a lot of us felt it was going to be a bit more competitive than it was, because we seen Tony in tough fights. You know what I'm saying? We seen him and know he can box. But when he went in there and fought Tszyu, the lens that we was looking through, it just showed a man who seemed to be aging right in front of our eyes. Tszyu looked overly like dominant in that fight and dispersing of Tony Harrison. I did not see Tony Harrison getting stopped. I didn't see it. You know, I just felt that he had enough, man. He was hyped up about the fight. All his talk that he's been talking about, he looked in decent shape, but he looked old, man. And Tszyu made him pay. Boy, he cashed some checks in there. He made Tony Harrison pay, man. He made him pay. No doubt about it. You know, what's there to say about Tszyu? First of all, Hold on for a second. Tszyu is 22 victories and 0 defeats and 16 knockouts. Okay, he's 28 years old. He's still right there below the cusp of 30. 5'8", 72-inch reach. His next opponent is a unique opponent. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows him from his first round outage from Errol Spence Jr. in Frisco, Texas. But you know, since then, he fought at 154. He never fought another fight at 147. And he moved up. And he's had 9 straight victories following that infamous night over there in Texas. Now, a fighter that believed he was about to step in there and get the belts found out it wasn't that easy. You know what I'm saying? Found out that wasn't that easy, unfortunately. He has to go take another fight. So guess who he's fighting? Carlos Ocampo, 34-2. The man just came off a unanimous decision loss. He went the distance, but he lost to Sebastian Fundora. You know what I'm saying? Carlos Ocampo is 5'10 and a half, 73-inch reach. He's 1 year younger, 27 years of age. And, man, this is decent, man. Like I said, his only losses has been to Sebastian Fundora and Errol Spence Jr. What do I have to say about his match with Sebastian Fundora? It was different, to say the least. He never gave me an impression that he was a threat or he was going to put Sebastian Fundora in danger. But he did stay active. He showed me the heart that he was using. He was gamed. You know, that's what I can say for him. He was game. Carlos Ocampo was game. And every time Sebastian let his hands go, Ocampo let his hands go. He stayed active. He just didn't sit and posture and do the mannequin challenge on the inside. He let his hands go all the time. Let his hands go. And I can't say if anything was wrong with Fundora or not. You know what I'm saying? But who knows if he's making his way easy anymore. But he never put Ocampo in trouble like that over and over again, you know, just like he did several other opponents, like a Erickson Lubin. You know what I'm saying? He didn't put Carlos Ocampo in there. And this man has lost the Spence back in the day and pretty much reeled off 9 victories. 9 victories, y'all. And y'all trying to tell me boxing doesn't have a modus operandi? Please. Their format, boy. This man, look how smart he is. Carlos Ocampo left the US of A when he fought Spence. And that man took a paragliding excursion into Mexico. He touched down and pretty much fought 9 times, right? He fought 9 times, and then he bailed out and, you know, had 3 more fights where he came to the U.S. twice. You know what I'm saying? If that isn't somebody with a smart manifesto, I don't know what is. He said, I'm just going to go over to Mexico and pick up me some more wins. And that's what he said, bro. And that's what he did. And now it gets him another fight, man. His record is 34-2 losses with 22 knockouts. Nobody's looking at all those fights he fought in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about 90. We can look at about 97.5% of his career has been in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Reminds me of a bigger Jaime Munguia. You feel me? I won 50 on that fight. No doubt. Let's get to the Devin Haney situation. Devin Haney is on the cusp of his second defense of his undisputed titles, right? This is a big fight. Yes, indeed. This is a very, very grandiose fight. This is for all the titles, whether people like it or not. He has every single title in his possession. He's going in there against a 2-time gold standard Olympian. I remember so vividly when he came on deck on how people was ranting and raving about Lomachenko and what he did in the Olympics, how many amateur fight he had, and just, how glorified it was, man. Like his career was historic before he even really got established. When he beat Gary Russell Jr. for the vacant, people was like, oh my goodness, this guy is just something of a phenomenal specimen. They just don't bring him like this anymore unless they create it out the lab. And they was hyping him. And all along, I just didn't see the hype where it was. And I always say, dang, Lomachenko's a bit overrated to me. You know what I'm saying? It went down to a point where he beat Luke Campbell for the vacant. People were claiming that Devin was, supposed to be the mandatory, which he already, he had fought for a title eliminator. It was wishful thinking, a title eliminator. But the WBC tournament crumbled. You know what I'm saying? It would have been great for him to get a title eliminated, then Lomachenko will have to fight him. But they implemented the second franchise title. You know what I'm saying? Because Canelo was the first. They implemented Lomachenko, the owner of the second franchise title. And at that point, he vacated the WBC belt that he had just won with Luke Campbell. Okay? So what had happened, instead of being a title eliminator, instead of the dang tournament flourishing like it should have, they fought for an interim title. Moving on. Lomachenko went on to fight Teofimo Lopez for the undisputed and lost. Not to mention his excuses that he made. Spinning it full circle, right? Devin pretty much had to get it the hard way. He had to sign a piece of paper that they know they lost sleep over. Sometimes you got to do it. Sometimes you just got to make the sacrifice. And that was a hell of a sacrifice to get the prize, to get the gold, to get the prize. And he did it. Not only could he win the titles, but he had to defend the titles. So he defended the titles. And this is where this gets a little tricky. We saw a jab count that was beyond the normality of fighters in the square. We know that counts can be fairly decent at times with the jab, but Devin, of course, threw hundreds of jabs, man. He pretty much jabbed this guy. You hear people stabbing somebody, he just jabbed this guy to death, man. And George Kambosos couldn't do anything about it. Now, people might say, well, we wasn't entertained and stuff like that. I have to say, man, he went in there and boxed. He went in there and basically completed and got straight to business what he had to do. Now, the rematch, Kambosos gave him different looks. I'm pretty sure he was just trying to get a reaction. But the moves that he was doing, shifting, making sudden shifts left to right, lateral movement while on the move, it really didn't create any type of open space for him to land shots. It really did not. So he was trying to give switch hitting and give, switch stances and give different looks. But really, when you're doing it, he wasn't basically applying anything to make Devin think, oh, man, I haven't seen that before. What should I do? I have to make an adjustment. Never. So he defended the titles. And then it comes back to Lomachenko because you did business with Bob Arum for his network. You had to come see Lomachenko. I believe from the Teofimo Lopez fight to now, it's the perfect storm for Devin, in my opinion. It's a perfect storm for Devin because Lomachenko's only gotten older since his fight with Tszyu. I'm being totally organic, right? So I look at this fight going easier than what he had with Kambosos. I said it, and I'm sticking to it. I believe this fight Devin Haney is going to have with Lomachenko is going to be easier than the one he had with Kambosos in the first fight. I believe it's going to be easier. I don't care what he did with Nakatani. I don't care what he did with Richard Comey. That's out the question. I don't care. I'm looking at the miles this man has on his body. People don't want to really say it because they say, "Oh no, Lomachenko, good guy." It has nothing to do with him being a good guy. He is a good guy, but Devin's going to be in there a much bigger fighter, according to the game plan that him and his father and his team get together with. It's going to smell disaster for Lomachenko if he can't get past that jab and he find out Devin is a lot stronger than he thinks. A lot stronger than he thinks. It's gonna be serious. It's gonna be destructive. It's gonna be destructive. And from what I'm hearing and reading, Devin saying he want to retire this guy. Okay, I'm not really into that. I just want to see a good fight. But I believe that this fight is going to be easier than the first fight with Kambosos. That's all I'm putting out there, shawty. You can take it however you feel like. It's just my thoughts. That's what I think. This man has grown into the weight class. He's carrying more weight now. And if he doesn't have a vicious weight cut to the point where it affects him, you know what I'm saying? He's drained down too much, or I don't want to see him lose the belts on the scales. So if everything works out, he's able to rehydrate properly. I think Lomachenko is going to be in some trouble, yo. I'm being truthful. I think he's going to be in some trouble. I think this fight is going to be just as dominant as his first fight with Kambosos. And I think people might be a bit, what's the word? Might be a little bit taken back. You know what I'm saying? Because they wouldn't have thought that Loma get dominated the way he did. So that's what I'm thinking. You can't take a young up and coming undisputed champion and feel like his drive, his motivation isn't the way Loma's drive was when he was back there doing 2 tours in the Olympics. This man was so old, he was up there fighting boys when he was in there before he came over to the World Boxing Super Series. What do you think his Devin's at right now? Devin's right there where he used to be. Devin's right there where he used to be. At this point in time, I don't see anything extensively that's I would consider levels apart from what Devin has going on. I mean, I don't see Loma being levels apart like that. I don't see him going in there and doing some stuff and making it seem like class in session. I don't see it. And I don't think I'm going to see it. I'm being honest. I don't think I'm going to see it. It seems to me it's going to be a very, very good set of fights between these up here. I'm pretty much curious if Devin, cleans this out. What's going to be his next fight, of course? That's the big question. Super Matias against Regis Prograis. Man, that's going to be a hell of a scrap. That's going to be a hell of a scrap. They only both have one loss together, but yet they're both champions. Regis more so a 2-time world champion. Man, this is going to be a hell of a scrap. A hell of a scrap right here. That's if, he gets past Liam and they try to set this up till the end of the year. That's going to be a nice one. And then Tszyu, hey, be patient, Tim. I know you're frustrated. Yeah, seriously, I know you're frustrated. But sometimes they always say this same cliche response. It's boxing. You know what boxing is, business first, right? So all you have to do is go in there and beat Ocampo. If you go in there and stop Ocampo, you'll be the only man to do it, the second man to do it other than Errol Spence. And then it'll look better for you because For Sebastian Fundora just went 12 rounds with the man. So if he couldn't stop him, then you can stop him. Absolutely. That man, bro, that's going to check the box. That's going to put you in a whole nother category for awards. Seriously. Like, if you go in there and look very good against Carlos Ocampo, man, it's going to mean a lot. It's going to mean a lot to the people because he's just coming off with one of the guys that's waiting on a title shot, just like you there, Tim. Waiting on a title shot. So that's where I'm at with this. You know, I wasn't going to stay on too long. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to stay on too long. But I want to give a big shout out to my supporters. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. Like I said, stay tuned to Jahad Tucker. He's on deck. Top Rank Promotions, the best promotion. July 1st. You know what I'm saying? Look up his box rec. His opponents out there already. It'll be his 11th professional fight, y'all. Okay? And shout out to the team. You already know what it is. Shout out to the team right there. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this promotion out there. You see this yellow flyer? Make sure you pass around, spread that yellow flyer on IG, man. Put it in your story. You know what I'm saying? Just support him, man. He's a good kid. He's going to be next in Toledo, Ohio, July 1st. July 1st. Until then, man, y'all turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Thank you for dropping in. Hit the like button on your way out. Peace.